Hey guys, Preston here. Welcome back to another video. Sorry about the sound in the background. I cannot control it. I have to get this video out, and for some reason my water softener wants to disagree with me. Anyways, we're here to break down the Caris LeVert to the Indiana Pacers trade from a Pacers fan perspective, I'd say. So we're going to focus less on Oladipo's impact in Houston and more about what LeVert can bring to the Indiana Pacers. If you don't know, this was a trade that ended up kind of wrapped in with the huge James Harden trade that happened recently. So the breakdown of this trade, it's Victor Oladipo to the Houston Rockets. In exchange, the Pacers are getting Caris LeVert, obviously originally from the Nets, who was a Rocket for like 2 seconds just for this trade, and a future second-round pick. I believe Woj said it was like a 2023 second-round pick. So that's kind of just a throw-in. We'll see how valuable that is in the future. Obviously, we don't know how good the Rockets or how bad they'll be in 2023. But overall, this is honestly, I think this was a good move for the Pacers. I'm not sure exactly why Houston did it, unless they plan on just tanking and don't want to have LeVert's contract on the books, I guess, or they still believe in Oladipo and are willing to give him the max. Those seems to be like the only two options, because it seems like with a weaker free agency class and a lot of teams, there's a decent amount of teams who have money to afford a max guy. There's a chance that a guy like Oladipo ends up getting a max contract somewhere. We'll see how it all plays out. There's already rumors now that he wants to end up in Miami already after being traded to Houston, so we'll see what happens. It's an interesting move, especially if that happens. And I think this trade is even better for the Pacers, because the dude, if he leaves Houston right away, it's like, wow. I mean, got LeVert for free almost. So it was a move that had to be done, if you ask me. I mean, Oladipo, there's plenty of rumors, speculation, stories throughout the offseason that he was done with the Pacers. He wanted out. The Heat rumor especially was something that's been happening and apparently continues to go on, that he wants to play for Miami. So not sure exactly why he wants out of Indiana. It sucks. It seems that obviously it's a trend that happens to us repeatedly as star players end up wanting to leave. But, he's not been quite the same since the injury, and I think, honestly, this move works out really well for Indiana for a couple reasons. Obviously, first, we can talk about age. The fact is that Caris LeVert is a younger player at 26. Oladipo is, I believe he's 29 right now. Sorry, guys, Oladipo. Let me get his age for you. Yeah, he's 28 according to Google, but he turns 29 in May. So, 2 years older than what LeVert is, and LeVert is locked up too. So, like I mentioned, Oladipo had an expiring contract. His contract ends this year, and the Pacers were either not going to afford him if he wanted to stay, more than likely, and it just seems like he didn't want to stay to begin with, even if we could offer him a big deal. It seems like he just wants out of Indiana. Unfortunate, but it's a reality, and so we end up with LeVert, who, like I said, 2 years younger and is locked up till 2022-2023, becomes a unrestricted free agent in 2023, but he has a $16 million cap hit this year, and then it goes up about $1 million to 17.5 and 18.7 the year after that. So 3 years, counting this season, of Caris LeVert guaranteed. A guy that gets to go with this core we have already of all of them in the 20s. The oldest guy in the starting five now is Brogdon at 28, I believe. So, I mean, Turner and Sabonis are both like 24. I don't know how old Warren is. He's probably like 27. So Brogdon being your oldest starter at 28, it's pretty good. That's a pretty young lineup. Most of them are locked under contract. I think Warren is the guy who needs an extension, because Turner, Sabonis both got extensions recently. Obviously, when we signed Brogdon in that offseason, he got a multi-year deal. So, I mean, your starting five can be locked up for a while, and it's a pretty good starting five, if you ask me. Young guys continuing to improve. I mean, Sabonis was already an all-star last year, and he's still in his early 20s. Turner's looking like a defensive player of the year candidate, and he's also only 24 years old. There's a lot of good stuff to look at here. And just numbers-wise, LeVert has been a very, very good player this year. A lot of people would call him underrated. I think there's been a general positive response from, like, NBA Twitter. So, like, if anyone was saying that the Pacers lost the trade, he was getting hit with the casual fan comment or ratioed on Twitter. I like Depot. I think most of the Pacers fans' disappointment is probably just because they have an emotional attachment to Oladipo already, and that just takes time to get over. The reality is this was a good trade for us. It's pretty good value for a guy with an expiring contract who people knew wanted out of Indiana. So the fact we got LeVert and a second is pretty impressive, if you ask me. So just stats-wise, this is just his points per game, not playing into the fact that he's been on the bench and then he started a couple games. He's been moved around this year just based off starting minutes and backup minutes. So 18.5 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, shooting 35% from the three-point line and 43.5%, so round up to 44% field goal percentage. But the effective field goal percentage is 49%, so that's pretty good. He also he has a better player efficiency rating, which is a measure of your per minute production that kind of standards it out. Apparently the league average is 15, and Caris LeVert is sitting at a 19.4 player efficiency rating compared to Oladipo's 16.5. So that's something you want to see. Vic has shot slightly better this year from 3 at 36% compared to LeVert's 35, but LeVert's field goal percentage is higher at 43.5. Obviously, Oladipo has gotten more points per game so far these 9 games, the games he's played. But also you have to factor in the fact that Oladipo was playing a lot more minutes than LeVert has gotten to on average. Like I said, LeVert was coming off the bench when KD and Kyrie were involved, and more recently he's had some games where he's gotten the start. And that's where some of these stats get impressive. So his 4 starts this year, where he's gotten starters minutes, gotten to be a starter role. He is averaging 29 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 8 assists per game. That's pretty darn good, man. It's a higher points per game average than anyone on the Pacers right now. It's very impressive, obviously, without... he's been starting because some other guys haven't been playing, which helps a little bit. And then this is another stat I saw. So without KD and Kyrie, so with both their top stars out, LeVert elevated himself even more to averaging 31 points per game, 9 assists per game, and 5 rebounds per game. So almost a double-double and 31 points. So the dude can score. I mean, he's Warren-esque in just pure scoring ability, if not a little better. And there's a lot of untapped potential there. A guy like Damian Lillard, NBA All-Star, I think people respect his opinions. He said he believes that LeVert is just going to go off with the Pacers. This seems to be another situation where we take a player with a lot of potential who's shown flashes and put him in the right environment to blossom, and he can become an all-star. Depot and Sabonis weren't all-stars when they came here. They got developed and got the playing time and exposure they needed to become all-stars. LeVert seems like another situation, except I believe he's more polished than those two were when he got here already. He's already kind of a developed product, but he just has time still, and he's going to get playing time, which is the important part. Because like I said, look at the 4 starts, which obviously that's a small sample size, only 4 starts. But in the starts, 29 points per game. Get the guy the minutes and the opportunities. He's going to get points for you. 8 assists is nice, too. I mean, that's just, dishing the ball out, getting it around. I like this kid. I like what he brings. I think he's going to be pretty hungry. Obviously, I'm sure no one likes getting traded. I think maybe you could view that as a slight. He's like, so you traded me away because you wanted Harden that bad, stuff like that. Maybe it'll be a motivating factor. I think the Pacers also just share the ball better than some teams do. I wouldn't want to play with Kyrie Irving. I've said that before. And it just seems like this move just makes sense for LeVert, too. From what I heard, he's not a big ego guy. I haven't heard anything yet about him like wanting to be a big market guy or anything, which obviously is something Pacers fans have dealt with for a while now as players leaving. Sorry about that. I had to pause my video for a second. But he's 6'6", which I didn't mention yet, 2 inches taller than Oladipo. It's not a huge difference, but it's a little bit of a difference. It's good to have height in the basketball. All right, so yeah, just some more stuff to talk about. Sorry, guys, this isn't a real structured video. I just was excited about this trade. I figured it's finally time to get a video out about it. Some smaller details that I think just are helpful in the long run. Some little things you may not be thinking about as Pacers fans, or maybe if you're not a Pacers fan, you wouldn't know this either if you think we lost this trade. Just something as simple as LeVert will play in back-to-backs is huge for us. I mean, this is a shortened season with more back-to-backs than usual because of how condensed it's had to be. And the fact Oladipo was not playing in back-to-backs this year is something that hurts this team. Obviously, I don't blame him fully for that. Obviously, he wants to take care of his knee. But the reality is having a guy who can play in these back-to-backs, which means you won't be without a starter every time you have a back-to-back game, is huge, obviously. I mean, it just is. You were missing Oladipo every time you had a back-to-back. Now your starter will be with you when you have these back-to-backs, obviously barring injury or something, knock on wood. But that's just a huge thing that I think some people are overlooking. The fact is he will play back-to-backs, which means we'll get more games with him than we would if Oladipo stayed with us. Another thing, I think most Pacers fans were more surprised the fact that this happened this early in the season. It seemed like if you were going to make a move for Oladipo, we were going to ship him out closer to the trade deadline, or we were just going to keep him, see what happens, and then risk him leaving in the offseason. So, Sorry about the sound upstairs. I can't control that, guys. But yeah, I got lost in thought again. But yeah, getting him early means he'll just have more time with the team to develop that chemistry, learn our offense, and just build within this team. Because obviously, coming into the season, we emphasized having a familiar roster, right? They had the year together, but they didn't really get to play a lot together due to injuries. We only got like 10 starts together with our starters, and that continues obviously with Warren's injury. If we could stay healthy, for crying out loud, sorry, that's my washer going off. That would just help with everything. But like I said, getting LeVert in early just means you get more chemistry with the team, which is something we've emphasized from the start of the season when we brought back basically everyone from this roster. Other things we should briefly mention. This doesn't do directly with LeVert, but Jeremy Lamb should be coming back soon. It was rumored it'd be sometime in January. It's the 14th when I film this, so hopefully that's the case, and he can get in by at least the end of the month. That's huge just for this team and for the bench especially, just getting guys back in general. TJ Warren will come back at some point late in the regular season, definitely, hopefully by the playoffs, so that'll just be another boost too. But this is a pretty good team. Warren being out means that our bench guys get more. Sorry, I'm holding a random pencil. Our bench guys get more minutes, which means they'll be just more polished and good to go when it comes playoff time. I think there's some benefits to that. Obviously, it sucks that Warren's out, but these other younger guys getting playing time is beneficial for them and their future prospects with this team. LeVert is a good player. He just is. I know there's plenty of Nets fans who were disappointed when he got traded away, and I think the fact we got him for a guy with an expiring contract who had a knee issue that he's still not fully recovered from and is locked up for 3 years, it's just a good deal for us. Thank you to the Rockets for making it happen. I'm going to wrap this video up pretty soon. I got stuff to do. I want to make sure I can get this video out for you guys. Not my usual 30-minute ramble. There's not as much to say. I think just besides the fact LeVert's a good, I'd say about this, almost, you could probably say the same skill level as Oladipo right now, but a little higher ceiling, obviously, he didn't tear a muscle in his leg. He has that injury issues, but it's more like a broken ankle or something like that, I believe. The muscle thing Oladipo had was pretty rare and tough to come back from. LeVert's were more common and you can deal with. He's also younger, like I mentioned. He's not super young. He's not 22 or something crazy, but younger at 26. I mean, Depot will be 30 before you know it, so it's another good thing to work with. Can put up points. Dude scores plenty. I think he'll score. He could average more than Oladipo did for us. It almost seems obvious that LeVert will average at least 20 points per game in our offense. Give him more minutes. He was averaging 18.5 already, including bench time mixed in there. So you give him more minutes with us, spread the ball more. He has a lot of potential, and I think we can unlock it. I really am excited to see what he can do. He won't be able to join our team till probably next week due to COVID requirements, which, it sucks. It'd be helpful to have him on this road trip, especially with Oladipo being out. But yeah, guys, I'm just excited to see what LeVert can bring to this team. Feel free to comment below. Let me know what you think about this trade. Maybe if you're a Nets fan or a fan of any other team, let me know how you think this went for both teams. From what I've heard, Nets fans did like LeVert, so that has me excited too. I think his defense is probably not as good as Oladipo's, but it's solid. Especially this year, it seems like he had some pretty good games, getting some steals, which is something Oladipo did do for us. Overall, I don't think this hurts the Pacers, though. If anything, would probably be the same, if not a little bit better, especially in the future years since we have him locked up and he can continue to grow in our system. A lot of untapped potential there. I think a lot of people agree with that. So anyways, guys, once again, I always ramble at the end of these. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Comment your thoughts about this trade below. Let me know if you want to see more Pacers content. Just look out for more Pacers content on it. Honestly, I'm looking forward to that. The NFL and college football seasons have wrapped up, so I'm probably going to go towards more Pittsburgh Penguins and Indiana Pacers content. So subscribe for more Pacers-related news and other sports teams in general. This is Cam A. Preston signing out. See you guys later.